story series. And this series is really just where I pick a topic that I truly love, but also I love to dig down rabbit holes and learn more about certain things. And today's topic is one of my favorite fashion icons from the 60s that really was one, I think, of the icons that made me dive more into looking at the fashion of the 60s, and that is Twiggy. So today we are going to learn a little bit more about Twiggy, the icon, the face of 66. Now, Twiggy, yes, was the face of 66, is a style icon, but really she is just a girl having fun with fashion. And we're going to take a look at that today. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Ashley and I love all things 60s and 70s. I love the fashion. I love the movies, specifically the horror movies, TV, music, and everything in between, just not the values. So if that's something you're into, definitely stick around and hit subscribe. So let's take a look at the life of Twiggy, aka Leslie. Now, first, we're going to dive into her early years. Then, we're going to take a look at her rise to fame. And lastly, what is Twiggy up to now? And what legacy did she leave behind? So, let's get into it. First up, the early years. Twiggy was born September 19th, 1945. Born Leslie Hornby and raised in Neasden. She was the third daughter born to Nellie Lydia and William Norman Hornby. Her mother worked at a factory for a printing firm, and her father was a carpenter. Twiggy had two sisters named Shirley and Vivian. She was the baby of the family, but always had a keen sense of fashion. She grew up in a modest home, and fashion wasn't on top of the radar of her family. Her mom often made her clothes and taught her to sew at a young age. Twiggy herself made some of her own clothes early on. As she developed into a teenager, she was teased for her stature, often called Sticks, which ultimately led to the nickname Twiggy. The reason being, she was skinny and had a boyish figure. Ultimately, at the end of the day, everybody has their awkward teenage years. And as a teenager, she was just a normal girl. She was obsessed with fashion. She loved to sew outfits for herself and spent hours in her room doing makeup looks. And funny enough, the iconic Twiggy lashes were an inspiration from one of her dolls in her room. She would spend hours on hours perfecting her makeup and wear up to sometimes 3 sets of lashes on one eye. She hoped to one day become a fashion designer. Now, little did she know that fate was going to step in on her journey to become a part of the fashion industry in a big way. She landed a job at a hair salon assisting, what they called a Saturday girl. This job gave her income to go shop the latest fashions in town, which was extremely exciting to her. She would often spend her lunch break shopping and then head back to the salon. Now, this salon is where she met hairstylist Nigel Davies, later known as Justin de Villeneuve, who actually officially gave her the affectionate nickname Twigs and ultimately helped to create her iconic look. Now, the question is, how? Well, star hairdresser Leonard Lewis asked Twiggy to be a haircut model for him to test a new short, blonde, boyish haircut. Now, Twiggy's hair was also dyed a brighter blonde as well during this transformation. Once the hair was done, a picture was taken to show off his work and advertise for the salon. Her picture went in the window of this shop, and a prominent fashion journalist saw her picture. She was intrigued by Twiggy and her look. She asked to meet this young girl and have more photos taken of her. Now, this threw Leslie for a loop because she never thought she could be a model. At only 5'6" and a very slender, almost boyish frame, it was not what the modeling world at the time was really looking for. Now, this Daily Express fashion journalist thought different and declared her the defining face of the decade, the face of 66. The face of 66. The article also read, "The Cockney kid with a face to launch 1,000 shapes, and she's only 16. Now, at only 16, she was launched into stardom. Twiggy, with her geometric blonde crop haircut and definitive eye makeup, was now a standard of beauty for this new generation. She famously admitted, "I hated what I looked like, so I thought everyone had gone stark raving mad." This full article featured her photos, again, dubbing 16-year-old Leslie the face of 66 and cementing the iconic nickname into history. Her father would come home daily with the paper, and when it was finally out, was so enthused to show his daughter, who again was just a 16-year-old schoolgirl living at home with her parents. That article changed everything. The fame. Now, Twiggy and Nigel, aka Justin, had become more than friends. But not only that, he also became her manager. He had helped mold her look in the beginning and gave her the affectionate nickname Twigs. He convinced her to make her stage name Twiggy. It was different, it was catchy, and it was fun. Twiggy could not believe she was in this world full of her heroes and icons like Jean Tripton and Patty Boyd, who she both loved and idolized herself. Twiggy skyrocketed to fame after that magazine article, soon seen in all the leading fashion magazines. Twiggy is one of the first international supermodels and a fashion icon of the 1960s. If you look up the 1960s, her face is bound to come up. She even had her own dress line, Twiggy Dresses, which was released in 1967. What I wouldn't give to get my hands on one of those dresses. 1 month after the article, she was posing for Vogue and would be in Vogue 14 times. America could also not get enough of her. And then New York Times and Newsweek stated she was a phenomenon. Now, because of that fame and international stardom, soon her fame led her to America to travel to America, where she was greeted like a beetle. She arrived in New York City in March of 1967 at Kennedy Airport, an event covered by the press. It was such a moment in the 60s, a British invasion part two. America couldn't get enough of Twiggy. She modeled in France, Japan, and America, and landed the cover of Paris Vogue in May, the cover of US Vogue 3 times in April, July, and November, and the cover of British Vogue in October. She was on lunchboxes, had dolls made after her likeness, lashes and cosmetics. Whatever Twig's face could be put on, it was put on. Ultimately, it was Twiggy mania. Now, yes, Twiggy was known for being thin. Yes, and in the world we live in today, an unhealthy thin would come to mind. But Twiggy is very forward in saying she was not by any means trying to make girls think they needed to look like her. Twiggy has spoken out against the trend of waif thin models, explaining that her own thin weight as a teenager was just natural. I was just very skinny, but that was just my natural build. I always ate sensibly. Being thin was in the genes. Now, and for me, that isn't why I love Twiggy and her iconic style. Now, for me, that isn't why I love Twiggy. It's not about the shape that she is, it's her makeup, it's her hair, it's her style, and the fun she exuded through her photos. That's why I'm inspired by her. And I think that is why the world was so enamored by her. And she was just something new, different, and refreshing for the 60s generation. Now, it may seem Twiggy was a model forever. She was a staple of fashion, but she actually wasn't. So let's take a look at life after modeling. Now, Twiggy loved and enjoyed her time modeling, but after 4 years in the business, she retired in 1970, stunning many. She stated, "You can't be a clothes hanger for your entire life." I love that. Now, she is most known for her modeling career, yes, but she had an astounding acting career as well. She could sing, dance, and act, and in her first job, she did all three. In the film The Boyfriend in 1971. She even won 2 Golden Globe Awards in 1972. Also in 1971, she released music and the single Zoo Dee Zoo Zong. And then in 1974, she made her first West End stage debut in Cinderella. She definitely kept busy and was successful after her retirement from modeling. She continued acting and singing throughout the 80s and 90s. When the 2000s hit, she didn't slow down. She co-hosts the British magazine program This Morning. In 2003, she released another album, Midnight Blue. 17 of the CD's 20 tracks had previously unreleased material from 1982 to 1990. And in 2005, she joined the cast of the television show America's Next Top Model for cycles 5 through 9 as one of 4 judges. Now, she did get back in fashion again in 2010. She started a home shopping network fashion line called Twiggy London, The Collection. And then in 2022, actress and filmmaker Sadie Frost teamed up with Twiggy to create an interactive virtual documentary about Twiggy's life. And also, there was a jukebox musical based on Twiggy's life titled Twiggy the Musical. What an honor. And the ultimate honor was in 2019. She was appointed a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire in the 2019 New Year honors for services to fashion, to the arts, and to charity. Twiggy was officially Dame Twiggy or Dame Leslie. Twiggy is now 76 years old. She continues to pick and choose projects that really resonate with her, and she balances time between her public life and her family. She still looks amazing and has that Twiggy spirit we all know and love. And she will forever be an icon and the face of 66, the face of a new generation. And I absolutely adore her. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you enjoy 60s and 70s content, definitely hit subscribe and check out my other videos. As always, thank you for watching. And if you love this, share it, like it, and I will see you next time.